Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. After 38 parks in the head-to-head 10 contest series, we now reach number 39 and final. This is the Jazzcats Varia Aeternum. This is part of the grand final. We looked at Miami Expo last go-around, and now this one is the opposing park for it. Varia Aeternum was built by pretty much the entirety of the Jazzcats team. Steve did 40%, 94 Supreme Posse did 15, Tolsimir and Suormot did 10, WhosLeon did 7, AvanineCommuter did 6, along with monsterbux. Jene did 2, AJ did 2, Bubsy and Saxman1089 also did 1% each. And this park is a look at kind of the Fountain of Youth idea, I guess. So it's this sort of historic architecture with some really nice landscaping and foliage and all these great little pools and little kind of health areas, I guess. You know, what's healthier than a coaster? So let's take a look at what all this map has in store. So let's start down here where we have all of these kind of like springs and pools and stuff. I love these little details throughout. We've got the peeps just kind of playing around here in these different areas. I guess this must be hot springs with all the steam and smoke coming up. You got the peeps laying all around and everything. I love the ones in the inner tube here. Lots of cool little things like these hot air balloons just kind of floating up here on top of everything, and I love the use of the waterfalls. We're going to see those pretty much across the entire park. Lots of nice color pops in here. It's a very kind of tan and brown architecture and landscaping, I suppose, but then you have the foliage, which has that kind of nice dense green colors, but then we have these great little pops of color like this purple hanging down here on this trellis. I love these stairs just going down into the water on either side. It looks really nice. Over here we have the Memoriam, little swan boats type ride that goes all around the whole thing. Little details here with some of these landscape different elements coming into it. I actually really like that that whole ride. You don't see those used very often, so it's kind of neat to see. If we continue across to here, we get to some of our first rides. We've got ourselves a drop tower right here called Vivis. And then also we have the use of these little stalls that we've seen in a bunch of different parks so far. There is this great little water wheel and waterfall on here, and this is connected to kind of a neat little ride here called Sanctus, and it's kind of like an Intamin first generation drop tower combined with a water ride, which is pretty funky and kind of unique. I love they got the splash working too, which is kind of cool on that one. Here goes our big coaster underneath of it. But very cool little ride that is pretty unique for this. Great waterfalls again coming down between this architecture here. I like this little backdrop for the ride as well. Kind of a neat look. Here we come again. There it goes, dropping down, and the splash to the stop. So pretty darn cool. That works neat. I love the use of the different scenery pieces from the Colosseum from the original game. Certainly these are custom scenery elements, but it's kind of neat to see how these are used in different ways. So we pick up our first coaster here. This is the first one. This is Aeternus, and I like the use of the Intamin wooden coaster trains just because we haven't really seen these used really at all. I rarely in CDs, and honestly, I can't really think of the last time that I've really seen them used on any project that went outside of head-to-head. So kind of cool to see that for one, a giant train. But this one and this RMC coaster that we're going to look at a little bit later have some kind of cool interaction and just some really neat layout design over top of these hills. Love the sort of just unique things here, like this little bridge across as we dive down to this corner here. Great drop down diagonally here to start. Great airtime hill up and over that log flume down into this little pergola thing. Bit of back and forth here with this helix on the one side, and then the RMC helix on the other. We do have a loop on this one, which is kind of interesting. I'm just going to pop out here again with a little hill down through and then turn around and pretty much finish. I actually really like the way that this one starts with this sort of sunken track here inside this gardens and just wrapping around the queue. Really nice use of the air-powered coaster track for this trellis element here, and just a very natural looking queue kind of coming through the whole thing. couple of vines on this side, and just some neat architecture, just the way that this kind of insets into the landscape on the other side of it. If we spin to this side too, we can see some kind of cutaway views of these different elements, and we'll see them on the other side as well. We have this like spa thing going on with this pool, kind of very Roman-esque feel, I guess. We spin around again and head on back down here. We get to our log flume. So this is ominous, and this is kind of an interesting log flume. First of all, it's like an 8-minute experience. It's a really, really long ride. I think it's 8 minutes and 30 seconds, so it kind of goes on forever, which is kind of neat. I feel like this is a very kind of retro thing. We used to have water rides in parks that just seem to go on forever and ever and ever. And I think it's kind of neat to see this. And it's got a lot of different elements to it. Like, it's got the traditional log flume track here, goes into this tunnel, has this section here with the custom scenery, water and everything that goes over and around this diagonal drop. Back to the log flume track, and we come up here onto this aqueduct type thing. I love the kind of split elements here with these different waterfalls coming off of it. Just kind of almost like an adventure ride, which I think is fun. Here it goes into this waterfall, I guess, and then we come up here somehow and have a couple of little circles over top of this waterfall that comes down through the middle of them. And then finally there's the really big diagonal drop here coming out to the end. Again, those pops of color, we've got these red or pink and magenta purplish looking plants. We have the nice bright yellow on the track going through the whole thing, so really nice overall design on that one. Little drop tower right here as well. So we got a couple different drop towers. That's number 3, I guess, when we really think through it. Got a little Enterprise right here, nice circular base on that one. And I do love too how this water ride really interacts with this coaster pretty well. So that's kind of neat, the whole thing there. Let's jump onto this RMC coaster just because we've been kind of looking at it for the rest of this time. So this one has a pretty cool layout too. Again, we're seeing the use of all of the new pieces. The wooden coaster doesn't have those, so it's kind of this like old and new dichotomy here with these two different ones. So we got this kind of interesting, unique start with this little kind of pre-drop section here. Then we have our nice big vertical drop here through that loop. And I just love this section right here where it kind of seems like it almost skates along the side of the wall here with this kind of like little bounce up and down and then drop here into this curve. This sequence is just absolutely gorgeous to me, and it's really a lot of kind of non-traditional elements that you don't usually see on a coaster just because it doesn't make for a necessarily super flowing layout. But once you throw it into this kind of a landscape and everything, it actually looks really, really nice across the whole thing. If we spin around to this side, we can see some of these ending bits where it comes across this little little cable type bridge going on here, and then here's our station that's open on this side with these great kind of triangular chevron type details on there. Here's another part of the queue here with this little suspended bridge coming along here, so that's a little hairy maybe to walk across that perhaps, but it's kind of neat to see. And they got a lot of little details when we come into this too, like this water wheel here, which is kind of interesting, made out of the rafts, which is something that I wouldn't necessarily expected. With the first couple of sections invisible, so it's really just the top section, it's just that flat bit. Never would have guessed that, and again, this is one of those things where invisible track has certainly, or invisible coloring has certainly made a huge difference in what we can do and what we can see with this game. Great waterfalls coming down on this side. Spin around over here, we can see the backside of this wooden coaster that we missed earlier, and a couple of cool elements here, like this giant top spin. And actually, this is one of the better top spins that I think I've seen. It definitely gets the width. It's maybe a little too wide, but using the invisible color as well for the arms and basically the entirety of the structure of the top spin. We just have the vehicles coming around, and then the actual structure is kind of built with these scenery elements on either side. It actually looks pretty good. Like it sizes up the top spin to something that feels a little more appropriate. Got our double water wheels here on this side, and then we can also pick up this splash boat ride, which you don't see these very often either. So Vitalis Splash, get a nice little diagonal drop here going underneath that little bridge we looked at earlier. Doesn't have the sprites for that diagonal, which is a little bit of a shame because see that. Got a little indoor section here, which is kind of neat in this like kind of salt baths area inside these caves, and then this great big splashdown. I love going underneath of these kind of like haphazard supports and landscaping that's hanging off of this thing. That's really a cool look to me, and then ducking under the pathway here up and into the final station here with another of that same kind of awning canopy pattern. Up at the top here, we've got a couple of cool things. I guess let's first look into the cave. So we've got some pretty cool structures here, like these little kind of salt mine type baths that we were looking at earlier. I love the different colors of water too. This is pretty cool with this very beautiful open air columns and little pools and spas and different things like that, and great little fountain here on the corner. And if we look up the mountain a little bit, we have this huge kind of butterfly garden here, which is very cool. I like seeing something like that. And I already mentioned these flowers, but I think they look really great hanging off of the whole structure here. And continue on up past that waterfall that goes down through all of these different elements. We get the Jazzcats JC here in the rock, which is kind of neat. And then our top structure here with this great kind of dome top section and another little section there. And really would be great to look out here. I mean, we've got a couple peeps here that look out across this entire expanse. That'd be just a beautiful spot for pictures and just to kind of hang out and look out at everything. Love these bridges across these different rock piles too. Just super interactive. Lots of different stuff to see across the whole thing. So very, very neat to see. You know, on the whole, I really love this kind of natural style. It's very Steve. I know Steve did 40% of the map on this one, and it's not totally surprising because it definitely has that vibe that he's definitely known for, and really has a great overall just look to the whole thing. So in the end, Varia Aeternum did end up taking out Miami Expo, not by too many. I think it was only like 2 or 3 votes in the end, so very close finish. This is the one that I voted for. It, in my opinion, definitely feels the most complete and kind of nice, cohesive look, and I really love the rides in this one. The coasters are just excellent. So congratulations to the Jazzcats for the winners of head-to-head number 10, and to the Soda Jerks for being runner-ups and finishing second out of the 6 teams. Really great season just in general. We saw a lot of really, really good parks across all of the different things. I would definitely say the Scream Easy and Mecca were probably my 2 favorite, along with Radio Park Tbilisi. So a great job to the Jazzcats for having those top 2 there, and you know, some really excellent parks throughout. Head-to-head always seems to elevate the status and quality of RCT parks and always introduce new things here and there. We get to see lots of plugins, we get to see all these new track elements used, maybe a little bit ad nauseum sometimes when we kept seeing RMCs in the Giga Coaster track, but you know, I understand it. It's the one that has all the interesting pieces, so we might as well see it used. If you'd like to download this park, you can definitely check that out with a link in the description below. You'll also need OpenRCT to view this, so definitely get that there as well. All of these videos, all 39 park reviews, are on the channel now, and don't forget to check all those out if you haven't seen all the rest. Now we will go back to looking at other release parks in our RCT review series as we continue to do some other stuff as well. But if you watched all of these, thank you so much for watching all of the different review videos. They were a lot of fun to put together and great to always get a second or third or fourth or even more look at some of these parks that you guys put hours and hours and hours of time into. It's definitely great to show some appreciation to the builders because they definitely put their heart and soul into some of these parks, and they're just you know, really turned out great. So congratulations to all the builders and the teams for it. If you like this kind of content, then definitely follow the channel and subscribe to see more of this. This is the kind of stuff that we'll continue to do. And if you have any requests for parks that you would love to see reviewed, then please let me know, and I'd be happy to do that as well. So until next time, thank you as always for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye now.